Today on the Star Trek Critic, what I believe would have been a perfect end-of-season episode, peak performance. The crew plays war games to get ready for the Borg, then the Ferengi try to capitalize on it. As usual, points are lost for each error, and the first point lost is, where did this shuttlecraft come from? Are they orbiting a planet? It is clearly not a long-range shuttle. Mr. Kohlrami follows Riker like a little ass-kisser, the same way Riker follows Captain Picard. As usual, no one listens to Worf, the Chief of Security, when he warns them about the Zakdorn. Aww. The Hathaway would never be left in a random solar system. It would have been scrapped by poachers years ago, so -1 point. Another point is lost since they would not do war games in an unprotected area of space. And this is why, since both ships will be disarmed. Kohlrami wants to meet the left fielder.
The left fielder's name, why?
Picard knows better. Starfleet is totally military, with exploration on the side, or our tax money would never pay for it. He's just a kiss-up to the scientist. Kohlrami drank so much he forgot why he was there, and then tells everyone what he looks for in a man. You learn something new about the Pakleds every day. -1 point for Diana Muldaur not being listed as a regular. She is what makes Season 2 unique, and 1 point lost for the black squares on the back panels, since they never stop reflections. Jean-Luc performs the Picard maneuver. Dr. Pulaski wants to bitch slap Kohlrami across the ship. Another point is lost for opening credits 6 minutes into the show. And another point lost. They would have had crew assignments weeks ago, not 48 hours in advance. This is product placement for Worf's chair. He stole it from the Torellians. Look closely, there is a Klingon ship on his right. This is foreshadowing next year when Captain Picard asked if anyone ever played with ships.
Good Lord, didn't anybody here build ships in bottles when they were boys?
I never played with boys.
Riker brings up the gay club on the ship, then Worf joins the team right away. Makes you wonder what they're really up to. This is the first time you see the statue of the two Klingon brothers fighting. I wonder if they have the backstory already in. Look quick, there's actually a divider at the bottom of the turbolift so it doesn't look fake. Kohlrami insults Riker. And again, Worf always gets the best lines. Dr. Pulaski talks about her sex life. Now Deanna mansplains to Data. He already knows this. Data thinks the doctor is in left field. Pulaski again says Kohlrami needs to be taken out to the woodshed for a really good spanking. They only have 48 hours. Shouldn't they be on the Hathaway instead of playing games? Here comes the Hathaway. Riker is thinking, well, if I go over there, I won't get to stand behind Picard all day like the little ass-kisser that I am. -1 point. The Hathaway has been powered down in outer space for decades, so it should be freezing in there. They're like, hey, the Hathaway bridge looks just like our battle bridge. And I have to take 1 point away because they're using first alert flashlights from today's world. Geordi finds the light switch. It will take way more than 2 days to repower up the Hathaway, so -1 point. Picard maneuver number 2, -1 point for a reflection. The black squares didn't catch it. Data says I'm number 1 and lets out a fart. Data's like, oh good, I get to sit in the big guy's chair now. Shout out to Dr. Pulaski for getting Data to challenge Kohlrami at Stratagema. Her view of Data did a complete 180 during her year on the Enterprise. This is Kohlrami's favorite phrase. Did Data stop sitting because he had to fart? We will never know. Geordi and Wesley check out the Hathaway's TV set and are both thinking, wow, this ship is really old school. 1 point is lost for obviously placed fiber optic cable. Burke is now the left fielder and says I number 2. It looks like Wesley is creating a robot brain for his school project. Wait, is he cheating in the war game? And once again, Wesley saves the day. Back on the Enterprise, instead of preparing for a war game in less than 2 days, the acting first officer plays video games. That's what she said. Obviously, this game is not meant for kids. And Data lost. Aww. If Data was working on his battle plan like he was supposed to, this would have never happened. Geordi does Picard maneuver number 3. Picard says, Riker is a good egg, while Kohlrami says, no, actually he kinda sucks. That's because the Zakdorn only look at people's records since their race never sees real battle. Deanna offers her counseling services to Commander Data, and he tells her to mind her own business just like the humans do. Dr. Pulaski tells Data he is sulking. Data accuses her of being out in left field. Strangely, both of them talk about Achilles and Troy. To draw a bigger female audience, they show Will Wheaton's butt. And then, Will Wheaton performs the Wesley maneuver. Data is missing and Picard doesn't think. Not good if you have a war game coming. Now he has to hold an android by the hand. Now the show becomes problematic. 2 female doctors fail to cure the male android and have to go to a man to help. In today's woke Hollywood, that is sexist. In the real world, where no one really gives a shit, Picard just needs to go give one of his crew an old-fashioned ass whooping. Picard gives Data an old-fashioned ass whooping, then gives excellent advice for everyone of the world to listen to.
It is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life.
Data makes up his sulking time with overthinking. How does Deanna not know what her ex-boyfriend is like? Seriously, this little discussion was no help at all for their battle plan. Another point lost since Geordi should be in engineering. That ship is pretty beat up. 1 point is lost. Going to warp speed during the war game would be defeating the purpose. Klingon Guile sends in a Romulan warbird, and this is the one time you actually see Kolrami laugh. War games are important, but this doesn't simulate a Borg attack at all. Jean-Luc responds with the Picard maneuver. And he's going to evade at 27 times the speed of light. That'll never work. How did Picard know Worf faked the attack? He must have read the script. Data says I number 3. Jean-Luc does Picard maneuver number 5, so it's time for a drink. While they were drinking, the Ferengi decided to sneak up on them and attack the ship. Kolrami, a representative of the legendary Zakdors, says he wants to run for his life, meaning Worf was right all along. Yes! They're all like, wait a second, isn't that Quark the bartender? Proctor says he's in charge of the Kripta. Kolrami says, I want that ship, give it to me. Data says they are screwed. Somehow, Kolrami thinks he outranks the captain. This is why you don't have war games in an unguarded solar system. You know something's gonna happen. Kolrami says the Hathaway is expendable. Riker agrees, which will just boost the little rabbit gopher's ego. Data's plan of pretending to destroy the Hathaway isn't the greatest, and then Jean-Luc performs a Picard maneuver one more time. Geordi and Worf are both like, Data's plan sucks, and whenever he almost gets us all killed, Picard just says he's acting human. This is a great shot of the Ferengi logo on the Kripta. The Enterprise fires at the Hathaway, and the Ferengi are like, holy shit, they blew it up. One thing you don't really find out, are they detecting the Hathaway? Or did Worf disguise the Hathaway as a different ship? Or did Worf create a ghost of a third shift? Whatever it is, it scares them and they take off. Kolrami says he'll write a good report. Not because they beat the Ferengi, but he's thinking about job security for himself. Jean-Luc performs the Picard maneuver one final time. Another point is lost because this is from the battle last year, and that is the Stargazer being towed, not the Hathaway. The show ends in 10 forward. Data has changed his strategy and takes Kolrami to the woodshed. This would have been a perfect final episode for Season 2. 21 episodes, a little short due to the strike going on. They had a war game, beat the Ferengi, made Kolrami look like shit, everybody celebrates, and you know the Borg are on the way. Unfortunately, there's one more show after this. So, who played the war games? Armin Shimmerman will be back in Deep Space Nine, and the late David Lander was Squiggy on Laverne and Shirley. Glenn Morshower has over 200 screen credits, mostly military roles, and will be back in Season 6. Leslie Neal was on Gremlins 2. And Roy Brocksmith has 80 screen credits, including Total Recall and Babylon 5, and will be back on Deep Space Nine. It left us early due to kidney failure caused by diabetes. Peak Performance, where the crew really gets to test their skills, gets a score of 85. Yes! Thanks for viewing. Be sure to leave comments below, click that like button, the share button, and that subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon.